What's up, everybody? I am back. It's been a long summer, but I'm so excited to get this going again. So, for those of you that don't know, our family moved from Arizona, basically on the Mexico border, all the way to Washington State. And so, I am now recording in our new house that we are renting right outside the military base here in Washington. And it's been a crazy summer. We lived in a camper for about 32 days while we were moving our family up from Arizona to Washington State. So we thought, you know what, since we have to make this big cross country move, and because my husband had off time for PCS leave, or like moving, basically like days you can take off to move, as well as some combined paternity leave, we thought that we would just make an adventure of it and go ahead and live in a camper and travel up the West Coast. And so we packed up our house in Arizona and packed up my parents' pull-behind trailer. They have a Soul Horizon. So it's an 18-foot pull-behind camper. So we packed that to the brim, which was such a brain challenge to figure out, okay, how am I going to pack this for what we need, according to like what not only my husband and I need, but our 2.5-year-old and our 4-month-old at the time. So that was a lot of brain work to figure out, how am I going to just get the essentials of what we will need for 30 days. But anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But so we packed that up and we hit the road on June 28th and we moved into our house on August 9th. So from June 28th to August 9th, we were living in our camper, traveling up the West Coast, and then also for about 2 to 3 weeks, we lived on an RV park on the military base here, which was actually really nice, a nice RV park. But we lived there for 2 or 3 weeks when we got here to spend the morning house hunting, because we were like super determined and sure that we wanted to buy a house. We bought a house in Tennessee when we were stationed there, and we rent that out, and we've had a lot of success with that. And so we thought, well, we're just going to rinse, repeat, and do the same thing up here. And that was not the case. We were very quickly humbled and realized that that was not going to work for a single income household. So for the housing market up here, it's just absolutely crazy. So we really did not accept that reality until about 2 or 3 weeks in. And then we decided, okay, we need to seriously look at renting. And so by the grace of God, we found an awesome rental house in a neighborhood that we absolutely love, and we're loving it here. We're very excited to be here. I mean, we have, granted it's summer, and I know that in the fall and winter, when that comes, that's going to be very gloomy and very different, or at least that's what people say. But for now, the weather is incredible. Oh my gosh, right now it's sunny and like 61 outside. Growing up in Houston, this was such a treat. And so to have this for a few weeks or even like a couple months has just been such a treat. And so I'm just soaking it up and living my best life. We have blackberry bushes all in our neighborhood on the way to the park. And so every single day we walk to the park and back, and we're just picking blackberries and just loving it. And there's so much to do and so much hiking and all kinds of stuff here. And so we're just really excited to be in such an outdoorsy area, and we're really loving it so far. So that is the super quick synopsis of just where I've been and what I've been doing. We have been moving and camping and doing all of the things. And so, yeah, we're happy and we're settled. But if I'm being honest, most of the summer truly just kind of felt like surviving. It was not as easy as I thought it would be living in a camper with a 2.5-year-old and a 4, 5, and 6-month-old, or the months that my littlest was. And so, yeah, I think the hardest part about it was well, let me rewind. When I look back, I'm like, I'm really proud of us. I'm really proud that we did that. I'm really proud that even though it was not enjoyable for the most part, that we still made the decision to do that, because we want to be people that take adventures. We want to be people that can go out in a camper and can explore. However, most of the time, I think the thing that made it hard was that we were not skilled in, we kind of just dove right in. We were not really skilled in knowing like the camper life in general, because all of that entails like that's a whole thing that you really have to learn. Like every week you get a little bit better as far as like, okay, how often, how much does our sewage tank hold, and how long for our family will that last us? For us, we had to do a dump run every single day that we were on the road because we did not have a big like sewage tank in our 18-foot pull behind camper. And so every single day that we would travel on the road, we also had to make sure we factored in, we have to find a dump. And not only that, we have to find a water station to refill our water, which a lot of times that's at the same place. And then we have to find a campground that is still taking reservations. And so once we sort of got the ropes on that, that was a lot better. And once we got out of the heat in Arizona, that was a lot better. As soon as we got to California and Yosemite and all of that, that was amazing. We basically hit like the Joshua Tree area to Sequoia National Forest to Yosemite, and then up through the wine country in Northern California and Southern Oregon. And we did the Fruit Loop in Oregon and Washington. And then we got up to the Tacoma area. And so it was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. We had like the coolest camping spots. And so one of the things that we did was we used an app for any camper families or wannabe camper families out there. My parents introduced us to an app called Harvest Hosts. And what that does is you can basically, businesses or homes or people or whoever can go on the app and upload their property and make it available for people with campers or RVs to stay on their property most of the time in exchange for you to purchase something from them or support their business somehow. And so a lot of wineries will do it, or breweries or farms. And so we got to stay at a winery one night in Oregon that was absolutely stunning. We got to stay at a blueberry farm, and I believe that was in Oregon as well. And that was really fun. And so that was a lifesaver to be able to do that. We also stayed on a farm where they had horses and cattle and chickens and goats and all kinds of things. And so our toddler absolutely loved that. And so we got to have a lot of really fun adventures, and we learned a lot, but it was also very hard. I was joking with my husband that it took this trip to really realize for me how much of a homebody I have become since becoming a stay-at-home mom. So for me, I really love my schedule, and I have sort of crafted my days to hit all of my needs and to hit all of the things that I want to happen in my life. Like if someone were to follow me around with a clipboard, those boxes would be checked by according to how I like time block my days. And that sounds very regimented, but it's very intentional, and it's the way that I have evolved as a person to be able to be a stay-at-home parent. And so it took me being on the road in the camper, not knowing where we were going to sleep that night, not like just having everything out of my control for the most part, to be able to say, wow, this is really hard for me. Like I have really, the college student that would have just dove in and did this, no questions asked, like this is hard for me. And so I did appreciate it in that sense. And I also appreciated, I'm sure Nate would be okay with me sharing this, but he had a moment where because he's a very involved father. Obviously, he's a fantastic father. And he is not normally around the girls 24/7 because he works. And so for him to be around the girls, he was like, wow, this is an eye-opener for me with how much you do during the day. And that he's like, I'm shocked that you're able to get stuff done during nap time. And so for me, that was a huge win because he was able to see that perspective as well. And so that was those were a couple of like takeaways from the summer, I think. But yeah, I'm just super excited for what I'm calling season 2. I know season 1 was like 4 episodes plus a launch episode, so a mini season. But season 2, I have scheduled all the way through November. I have some awesome guests coming on the show. I'm not gonna share names because I don't want to like spoil anything, but we're gonna be having some great conversations. We're gonna be talking about building in rest and rhythms of rest into your day as a business owner so that you can stay creative and prevent burnout and live a life that you love. We're going to be talking about your relationship with food and how to incorporate more balance to our meal and more nutrition in our meals without like going overboard. And we're going to be talking about like Thanksgiving and how to go into Thanksgiving with permission to eat and things like that. And so that'll be good. We're going to be talking, I'll have to share this because I'm just so excited. I'm going to have my mother-in-law on the show, and she's going to be talking about lessons she's learned raising 12 kids. So I'm super excited about that one. I'm going to be talking about kindergarten readiness with one of my great friends and things that we can do as stay-at-home parents to get our kids ready for school. We're going to be talking about messy military wife drama on Facebook pages. I'm going to have on a therapist, and we're going to read some anonymous posts or maybe some unanonymous posts on some Facebook groups that I see about military spouse drama and holiday family dynamic drama and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to be giving some hot takes and some advice on that. We're going to be talking about the mental health space, specifically when it comes to bio moms and adoptive moms and the challenges that anyone involved in the adoption world, especially bio moms and adoptive mom face, and tools for managing that. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about every single conversation that I have coming up. And there's probably more that that are slipping my mind that are on the docket. But I'm also going to have a couple of solo episodes as well. But that being said, thank you so much for listening and still being here, even though it's been a couple of months. But in my first launch episode, I shared that I am committing to 100 episodes, and I have not wavered from that. I have not swayed from that. I am very much committed to recording 100 episodes, maybe more. We'll see. But this is my commitment to myself that I will be doing that. And so sometimes I might have to take a couple of months off, but that is not me faltering from that commitment. I'm still here, but I'm going to do it in my own way. And I'm going to make sure that I show up healthily, that I show up whole, and that I show up on the timing that's right for me. And so if I have to take a couple of weeks or couple of months off to focus on being with my family or to heal or to rest, then that's what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to continue to get to do this. It's truly just such a passion project for me, and I'm just elated that I get to do this. And so, thanks for listening. Share with a friend. If you start to like the conversations that you're hearing from season 2, it really helps more people to find me and find this podcast when you subscribe to the podcast, when you rate the podcast, and of course, when you share the podcast. And so if you're able to do any of that, that would mean the world. And I also think this is a good time to share, just because I'm launching into season 2, that I want to be very clear that I had to get to a place when I started this podcast that I had to truly not care who listened and how many people listened and how many followers I got. This is not about gaining followers for me. This is not about getting clout. I had to get to a place which took years, knowing me and my personality, to get to a place where I could show up to this because I love it, because it's something I'm passionate about, and because I genuinely feel like we are all gifted in different capacities and we all have different passions and things that we love. And when we lean into those things and do those things, it's not only an act of worship to the God who created us, but it is a way to make the world a better place and to ignite the people around you to do the same and to give them freedom to do the same. And so for me, this is a small way of doing that, is by showing up to this podcast and doing it wholeheartedly. And yeah, so that's a soapbox there. But thanks for sticking around, and love you guys so much. And I hope that you're all enjoying the fall weather, whatever that looks like to you. Me and my littles, we're going to go get some more blackberries today, and we're going to go enjoy the sunshine here in Washington State. But I'll see you guys next time.